Hello, 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 and welcome to the 1218 Show. This is episode 11. My name is Mike Wilson. I am your host. Let's get into it. It's not going to be a long one this week. It's been crazy busy, so I know I'm a few days behind. I know my initial intention was to do one a week, and I'm a little slow. It seems to be every 8 or 9 days now. I'm going to try to get it back on track here as we continue going forward. So, if you have not yet, please go to the website, the1218show.com, and check it out. I've got it on there. I've got it, it's a work in progress, still up and moving, but you can click on all the different ways to download the episodes. So I appreciate that, as well as the links to my books, if anybody's interested in taking a peek at those, if you haven't already. Those of you that have, thank you very much. I wanted to talk this week, a couple of different things. One, I went to the New York Auto Show today. I had the day off, so I went over there and I used to try to go every other year at least, and I always enjoyed seeing the new models, new cars and things. Not that I live in New York City, so I don't have one right now, but if I ever move out, I do plan on getting a car again someday, so... but they're fun, man. If you've never been to an auto show, go check it out. This one was a little smaller this year. Like GMC didn't have a booth there. Mini Coopers didn't have a booth there. Mini, I guess. Mini USA, whatever it's called. There were a few other big name automakers that didn't have cars at the show this year. It was I'd say about 70% of the size that it used to be, or that it usually is. So hopefully next year they'll have it up and running. But I highly recommend it. It was fun. It's a nice afternoon. Walk around, and you can sit in all the cars and all that stuff. So they finally lifted the mask mandate for airlines. Kudos to that. About time. What else? I feel like there's something else I wanted to mention, and I'm already forgetting it. But we'll skip on to what I was thinking about today, what I wanted to talk about. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I consider myself quite a thinker. Chronological and logic, both part of my makeup. I just can't. Anytime I'm just interested in everything, and I'm interested in how things work and what the reason for this is, and et cetera, et cetera. And I've been really annoyed recently because the drugstores here in New York, there's Rite Aid and Duane Reade, and they're closing down left and right. Like they cut about 2 years right before COVID, they were cutting their hours. They used to be 24 hours. They're moving them back. Now they're just closing them. They're closing up shop. They don't have the business anymore. And one of the main reasons is obviously lack of business. They're not generating the business, and it's not because there's not enough people here. A lot of it has to do with online stuff. Why would you go to the store when you can just order it online and it gets delivered to your door? I understand that mentality. But in New York, unlike a lot of the less urban areas in the country, New York people shop daily. You get the food of the day, prepare it that night. We don't live in big houses where you go to the store once a week and shop for the week, plan accordingly, come home, bring all the groceries in. And I know a lot of you out there do that. But in New York, and probably other urban areas as well, you pretty much shop daily. You stop in the store on your way home from work, or at some point during the day, pick up what you need for the evening and the next morning. And then you just do that every day. And there's markets and stores pretty much on every corner, within 2 to 3 blocks, let's say that, of everyone. Or at least there used to be. And those are starting to close up. And it's frustrating because I like that. I liked going to the store. Sometimes you can shop for a whole week, but if on Wednesday you're like, I'm not in the mood for whatever you chose. Shopping daily is kind of a neat thing about New York. It's going to I feel like some salmon today. So you run over to the little meat shop or the market that has a meat counter, meat and fish, poultry, and fish and things like that, and seafood. And you pick up what you want for the night, and boom. Now, there is a touch of, we live in New York, or if you're living in a major urban area, the prices are a little more expensive. Hell, in this city, the prices are expensive from neighborhood to neighborhood. I'm blessed that I'm able to live on the Upper East Side, but if I go north, not even a mile, prices can be 30% less than what I pay for the same stuff. So oftentimes, you kind of have to weigh that out, figure out where, depending on how tight your budget is, etc. But I want to go back to these drugstores, these big chains, Duane Reade, which is owned by Walgreens, I believe, Rite Aid. These companies that are just closing up shop because they're not generating the business anymore. And I want to talk about the reasons. Now, one of the main reasons is that people are shopping online more. But why is that? Obviously, convenience and ease is part of it. But again, if you're shopping online, you're not shopping daily, which is kind of a city thing. You're shopping, for a few days here and there. And you're obviously not picking up your fresh meats and things like that. I mean, you can do Fresh Direct or there's other services, but one of the things that has been bugging me is that I didn't mind paying a little bit of a markup to shop local. I'm a believer in keeping the money in your communities, in your towns, in your, supporting small businesses and supporting local businesses. So, I mean, if I had the choice between, the little corner market or the big chain grocery store, if they're a block apart in New York, I'll always go to the corner market if I can, even if I'm paying an extra 20 cents for shampoo or something like that. If they have something that I want, put it that way. A lot of times, the grocery stores out here and stuff don't even have, stuff that I prefer. But if they do, I would shop local. And I would always go to Duane Reade or Rite Aid for your basic needs, your toiletries, deodorant, things like that. And I shop there as needed. Always. But a few years back, New York decided that it was going to... There's been all this public and social pressure to loosen the laws, right? Stop and frisk was a thing, in the 2000s. That got relieved. Broken windows, which for those of you that don't know is basically stopping people for small crimes, and which alleviates them getting into bigger crimes, or you catch somebody that's doing a small crime that has a big crime, and et cetera, that you can see how it all fans out. So they've kind of reformed. They've gotten rid of these things, right? There's no more. They don't do the broken windows thing anymore. They don't do the stop and frisk thing anymore, and grocery stores and markets and stuff have been basically instructed not to stop thieves, petty theft, stuff like that. So for a short while, not a short while, still going on, but the thieves, criminals, yes, but thieves, would walk into Duane Reade and they'd go and clean out the Red Bull, and any high market items, deodorants and soaps and any of the higher ticket stuff, shampoos, and on down the list, from tampons to razor blades, which razor blades were usually locked up. But my point is, the reason I'm mentioning this is that I've been in a couple times recently, and I've all but walked out pretty much empty-handed every time, except for maybe one or two things that I was able to grab. Usually food or paper towels or something. The reason is everything's under lock and key now. You can't get deodorant there without getting an attendant to unlock it. You can't get many items that you want to get. I mean, if you go in there now, half of the store is under lock and key. So you essentially have to have if you want to go shopping, you got to have an attendant come and unlock everything for you. Well, for those of us who were willing to, pay that little extra bit more and go to the store and take the time out to do that, to again support the neighborhood and keep the businesses going, and you know, my stick of deodorant isn't saving a business. I'm just talking about me as a person, as people. It's no longer worth it. I don't want to, and you know, put some. And not only that, you know, the attendants there, they're all making minimum wage, maybe $1 or $2 more. So every time you bug them, it's a pain in their ass too. They're trying to stock shelves or do something else, or help a customer at the register, and you're trying to get them to come over here and unlock something. And you know, let's say deodorant. Maybe I don't know what flavor I want. I want to smell a couple of them. I mean, you don't have that. You know, you can't shop when you've got everything under lock and key like this. So then it comes back to, well, how many customers has that chased away? I'm one of them. I'm assuming there's more like me. I know there are. I mean, I've talked to some. But I don't know how much of a dent that makes. But it's also a little bit of fear there. I mean, I've been in the store now 4 or 5 times in the past, let's say 4 years, and watched thieves just load their carts full of shit, or look, I should say their pockets and bags, and just walk out. And the attendants are like, "Hey, you can't do that." They'll say something, you know, they might verbally try to say, "Hey," but they just walk out, and then they have to call the cops, and the cops are there anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes later, and it's always way too late. They're never catching anybody. And people are afraid of that. They don't want to be around that crime. I mean, it seems small, but you know, things escalate when you're doing something wrong. If somebody did stop you, or if there was an off-duty police officer that said, "Hey, stop," and then one thing leads to another, and that's just how things escalate. So people are scared of that. So they don't want to go in there because there's a very good chance you're going to see somebody steal something. Homeless people, or bums, or hobos, or teenagers, punks that just don't give a fuck. They'll go in and just steal whatever they want, just walk out, because there's no risk anymore. The reason I'm bringing this up is the same people that wanted all of this reform, generally speaking, are the same ones, or the same people that hate free enterprise and that get mad at people like Jeff Bezos, who say, "Oh, he's got way too much money. Why does he deserve that?" Well, wait a minute. Let's back this up. This is all part of my train of thought thing that I was thinking. If you can't have it both ways. If you want people to go out and feel safe and shop freely, openly, pay for their items, then there has to be some regulation on these products and the way people can handle it. So you can't say, "Oh, you know, let's loosen up all the laws because it's silly that we're, you know, arresting all these people for stealing $20 worth of shit." When things escalate, and then you know, bad stuff happens and all these different groups come out, and then in the same breath say, "This bullshit that Jeff Bezos has so much money." But wait a minute. I used to spend my money in your store. I used to spend my money in the local store. I now don't. I order it on Amazon because I don't want to have to get an attendant for everything I want to shop for. I don't want to. If I want to look around at different flavors or different brands or whatever, and kind of read the bottles, let's say, and see what ingredients are this and that, and it's under lock and key, I don't feel right about taking an attendant and spending 10 minutes say, "Hey, unlock this for me," and then stand there while they sit there and let me read and watch. I mean, I'm sure they don't care. They're getting paid hourly, but they do care. I mean, people that care about their jobs, they care. They want to get back to work, get back to where, you know, doing something productive outside of just me sitting there reading my labels. It's this vicious cycle, and I feel like social media has gotten in the way of this. I feel like there used to be kind of this group of people that hated that, you know, bad things happened in general, and that bad people existed, and they always just want to believe, well, you know, and in doing so, they just trusted that the people that dealt with that stuff, the policemen and the lawyers and the security guards, they trusted that they did their job to the best of their ability, but they didn't really get in the way. They knew that they had to do their job for them to be able to live their life the way they wanted to. And they didn't want to do that job, so they accepted it. Listen, that's not a world I want to be involved in. Well, now with all this new stuff and all this reform, people are the internet is getting too much influence, and people are seeing what's going on with that group of people that they never really wanted to know, and say, "Oh, this is BS. Why are all these people getting arrested, or why this, that?" So we demand this, we demand that, and they vote accordingly, and now it's affecting their lives, our lives, all of our lives. And they're scratching their heads like, well, why do I have to get a key to get a deodorant? And it's like, wait a minute, you are the reason that we have to do that, because you no longer want you no longer want the authorities to handle petty crime, or you don't want people to be bothered, with stop and frisk because they are got their pants cinched around their knees and they're walking around, looking like they're holding a gun, and all these things, all these traits that bad people generally display were the ones that were being stopped and frisked. Nobody was walking to work in a business suit and getting, thrown over the hood of a car. And again, I'm not trying to get this, I don't want to blow this up into a big thing here. I just want people to think about why things are happening the way they're happening. Because where it's going is going to be back to vigilante justice. All right, if you have something, or if somebody comes and tries to steal something off of your, let's say, your front yard, and there's no consequences because, well, hey, the cops ain't gonna do shit. I'm stealing, I don't know, this kid's bicycle, or I don't know. I actually had knew a kid that had the fancy little things on to put on the air plugs of his tires, and some kids stole them off of him. And when he found them, he was like, "There's not much I can do. I mean, it's just they're just a toy." But they were 20 years old. His dad had bought them, and blah blah blah. The point was, there's no repercussions anymore. Everybody. They're kind of making us, the people that are keep voting and wanting all of this, like, hands off from law enforcement and all that stuff, are putting the criminals in our hands, in our own personal hands. And that's a scary thing, because it's like they're forgetting history. That's what the Wild West was. That's what it was. And Law and Order came into play by learning from, oh shoot, people handling their own affairs in intense situations doesn't always really unfold the way that the dreamers think it's going to be. It's not going to be that way at all, actually. So I'm just putting this out there because I feel like people just kind of focus on one thing, and they don't really understand. Well, look, if I think this, if I want the police to not be able to stop somebody that's just stole a Red Bull and a sandwich. Okay, but the companies just can't give away shit. They can't just lose money, so they start to lock it up. Well, then that chases away customers, where people are scared to go in there because they know there's thieves. That chases away customers. When customers go away, businesses close. When businesses close, your other options now become online. So now Jeff Bezos gets more of my money than he used to. And that goes for everyone. No matter what side you voted on before, no matter what team you're on, and whether you're red or blue or somewhere in the middle, and you'll hear me say over and over again, I always put myself firmly in the middle. I argue both sides on a lot of different issues, even though I do think that the middle has moved, and I've kind of moved with it. But I don't think people are often thinking about what they're really arguing for. If you're arguing that you should not be allowed or be, reprimanded for doing something small, then what's going to happen is that small thing, the people that are the victims of the small thing, the store in this case, has to protect their goods some way, so they put it under lock and key. all right, well, we're not allowed to stop the criminal, so we have to lock it up, and then, people come. So all that does is now get us back to ordering online and things like that. There's a lot of this going on in lots of different facets and areas of the world and stuff. And I just want you to start thinking about it, because I have a lot. I'm not happy with the way the country's moving. And I've said over and over, which we'll get into this on another one, but I've said over and over that the end of America, the end of the world, I should say, was in 2008 when the smartphone was invented. I truly believe that social media and having that 24 access right in your hand is the worst. It's terrible. And I have a lot of thoughts on that, but I wanted this to be short, and here we are 20 minutes in. I just had a lot of thoughts about that, because I'm tired of going into the drugstore now and having to get everything under lock and key. I stopped in earlier today. Just got on my nerves. So I'm like, you know what? I hate ordering everything online, but that's kind of where it's gotten to now. And I'm sad. I'm saddened by it, because everything's vacant. All these shops and stores and stuff, there's just vacant space here. And eventually it's all just going to be warehouses of shit that's going to be delivered. I mean, it won't be long before delivery guys are getting robbed themselves. I mean, mail's already getting jacked left and right if you don't have a secure mailroom or something. I mean, these delivery guys, and they're stealing packages left and right. One just happened in my building this week. So that's it. I just want you to think about it. I'm all for open thoughts and ideas, and I certainly don't want to see anybody get in trouble, but I also don't want them to do things that get them in trouble. So the answer is not let them go and figure it out. That's not the answer. So how do we get them to understand? How do we get their parents to teach them, hey, you don't steal shit? I mean, that's what needs, that's kind of where we are. Anyway, I love you guys. It's been quite crazy week, so thanks for listening. Next week, I have a cool little thing that I'm working on here, a little trivia thing that I'm going to do on my channel here, on the YouTube channel. So I'm working on the first episode of that, which I'm excited about. So we'll have that up here in the next couple of days, and I'll do a quick podcast that explains what it is and then spread it out there. Also, if you know anybody that likes to listen to this kind of stuff, or if any of the episodes that you like, spread it out there. I need some more subscribers. I'm begging for you. No, I am. I need some more subscribers to my YouTube channel, and I want to get this thing growing. So hopefully you all are well. I hope that we can have another great week. Spring is here. It's starting to get nice, and the flowers are blooming. So I love you guys. We'll talk to you soon, and have a great week. Adios.